All right, so just gonna warm up for 10 and then I'll close Zwift out and restart it. Going with the S-Works Venge with the disc combo. Distance really doesn't matter, we're just doing 3 hours. But if I can go a little bit further, then wonderful. But yeah, we're just going by time. So I'm gonna, because it's turned into an inside effort because of the weather, even though it looks like today, potentially could have done it today, but I'm not just gonna keep flip-flopping back and forth. I have to commit to one thing and get that in my head. I don't like I'm not a type of person to play things by ear and day by day. I hate doing that. And also, I haven't ridden outside yet all year. So even if it looks great today, it's like, yeah, I could have done it today, sure, but I haven't ridden my bike outside yet. So I'm not gonna have the very first ride outside be 3 hours of just smashing the pedals here. Usually the first ride for me, I'm just trying to actually just balance, period. And yeah. So anyways, gonna get started in about 8 minutes, then 3 hours at around 80 something percent, 81%, 82%, kind of an aggressive type Ironman power because it's inside. And I have a lot of confidence in my power inside, like in the ability to hold power for long periods inside. It's because this is how I train. So outside I was gonna hold probably like 77%. So anyways, we'll warm up and then 3 hours at that. And then we'll catch you outside for a 30-kilometer run, also at Ironman pace. All right, we'll catch back in periodically throughout. I won't be able to talk. It shouldn't feel too hard, but I wanna focus on the effort just like I would be in a race. All right, so wish me luck. Let's get this going.
Breathe it out. Okay. Okay, now. Yes! Yeah! That was how you finish.
Alrighty, so here we are now, a couple days later after the effort. Had a good amount of time to really reflect on it, and I learned so much from that session, and it was really exactly what I wanted from it. Yeah, like, so let me just say, so I didn't hit the goal time that I hit on the run. I wanted 154, which would be 348s, and that'd be a 240. And I mentioned all this on my Instagram and stuff as well. Probably people, I don't even know if I have to make this video at this point. Probably people have already seen that and stuff like that. But just to kind of give some continuity to the YouTube channel to tie that off and stuff like that, so I don't just, my next video here isn't just straight into my next mission. I thought maybe I'll wrap it up once again here, and since making that YouTube video, I've learned even more from really analyzing things, and like I said, it was exactly what I wanted from that session. I didn't hit the goal time on the run, but I was actually perfectly okay with that, and the way that it happened, I'm really proud of that. That, like, I didn't hold back, and you know, I started fast. There's no question about it. I started fast, but it really didn't feel that fast at the time. But I started quick, and I just kind of went with it, because part of me kind of was thinking at like the 2K mark, past the 2K mark, like it was like 341, 340 as you saw, and yeah, maybe if this was like a real race, yeah, it'd probably be smart to be like easy, like ease back and go back to 348s and play it safe. You got 42 kilometers to run. Let's just say if this was the actual race, but in reality, it wasn't. This was a training session. It was like a big training session, no doubt about it. But, when I initially put this training session on the calendar, I think it's It's important to realize that this was going to be a test session before the Ironman. This wasn't going to be the race, right? This was going to be literally like my first kind of extended effort of the entire year, which it was. I was going to have this, and then I was going to have a half Ironman, and then I was going to have the Ironman. So this was literally like the first extended effort of the year. So it was kind of just like a base test. And so I thought when I went through 2K quick, it's like, I'm not really going to slow down and stuff like that and just play it safe here. I want to see what I could do, especially, and maybe it would be different if I had another race coming up and stuff like that, but especially considering we got no other races really for the foreseeable future here, for a while at least. I was like, you know what? I don't really have any races. Let's just see what happens. Like, let's go with it and see what happens. And I actually think that by kind of going at it aggressively, I was able to get so much more information about things than if I just played it safe, potentially hit pace, sure, but maybe, what does that tell me? I don't know. This told me, okay, that pace is maybe a little bit rich for now, but it was definitely sustainable. It actually did feel sustainable, and looking back on it, that actually could have been nutritionally more than anything. And if you noticed in the video, I got a side stitch probably at around 20. In hindsight, I just pushed a little bit too hard. I actually felt great first 15K. Felt amazing. Despite like the rolling hills and despite like, I can't even tell you how many times GPS cut out on that thing. It was ridiculous. So, I mean, to cut to the chase, my time was 1:57:50. In reality, it was probably 1:56:50, which is 3:55s. And grade adjusted, or 3:56s, sorry, and then grade adjusted was 3:54s. So it's like a 2:44 marathon type pace. And yeah, like the first 15K was a joke. It felt amazing despite hills and wind. It was like the wind actually did pick up for sure coming on the way back. And I just pushed a little bit too hard coming back up, probably the biggest hill of the day. And it just so happened that hill coming back up was also into the wind. And I probably pushed that a little bit hard, and that threw the breathing off. That gave me a side stitch, and that kind of just threw my nutrition off a little bit. And it turns out that in the end, from looking back at how much I had left in bottles and such and stuff like that, turns out that I only took 46 grams of carbohydrate per hour on that run, which is just, it's not enough. So anyways, I just pushed a little bit too hard, but nonetheless, to get back to what I was saying, I am like super proud of how I did that effort. And like, I'll talk about it more in future videos and stuff like that, but I just went for it. And I'm really proud of that mindset. And then the icing kind of on the cake were those last 2 kilometers. And I mean, I talked about it. I talked a little bit about it in the video before and stuff like that. But, I had a rough patch, absolutely, from about 24 to 28. We fell off pace. But at that point in time, yeah, it would have been really easy to just like be like, well, all right, good try, whatever. Get it next time, or like, who knows, maybe even throw in the towel at 25, because it's like, well, we've run off pace, and really this is just a glorified like training day more than anything. There's not much on the line here. But with all that being said, I was able to, like, it was like a switch went off, and 29th K uphill and into the wind wasn't that quick. It was like 4 minutes or something like that. But then but I felt my legs coming back big time on that. And if there was a grade adjusted and a wind adjusted pace, that was definitely 3:50 or something like that. And then the last kilometer was a 3:45, and then included about a 7 or 8 second GPS dropout. And I was saying to my dad, go faster, go faster, go faster, because the legs were back. And that to me, like, that put the bow on, that tied the bow or tied the knot, whatever you want to say, on the last 4 months of training. Because all my training, so much of it has been focused on back end endurance. And here, you had a great start, a little rough patch in the middle, but then came storming back. And to me, when we finished that, it was like, oh man, I had that second win, and I could have kept going and going. Like the legs were ready to go, and actually there wasn't that much soreness the next day. Like I actually felt pretty good. I felt pretty tired that night, but the next morning was pretty good, and I was running today, and really didn't feel really any pain or anything like that. So to me, like, things I'm proud of, things I'm happy with. I'm happy with the kind of just going for it type mindset that I had all day. I mean, the bike, for example, I talk about the run, but the bike was phenomenal. 262 watts is like my best bike split last year in terms of speed, not in terms of power. And power was Mount Tremblant 70.3. But in terms of speed, my best bike split was in Peru 70.3. And here was 12 watts higher than that bike split at 262 watts. Peru had 265 normalized. But if we just go by averages, it was 12 watts higher than the average and done for 50 minutes longer. So, and that was the same time of the year as this year. So did I improve on the bike? Absolutely. And if I compare it to Penticton and Denmark, looking back at it now, it's unbelievable. Like, it's 30 something, I think it's 32 watts higher, was that bike split that I did on Sunday. 32 watts higher, and if 2 hours and 45 minutes of it was in time trial position, which I think is even more than in Penticton, because Penticton had a couple climbs, but it was 32 watts higher than my average power in Penticton, where I won a world championship off of that bike run. And yeah, so it was like, I think Penticton was 230 average, 244 normalized. And I mean, I did hold back on that bike, and I remember doing that. I said it even before that race. I wasn't going to just drill the bike because I knew that I wasn't very confident in my run legs going into that race. I had only run for a couple weeks, and I figured the only way that I'm going to have a chance here is if I get off the bike feeling really fresh, because really I have no confidence in my ability to run 30K. I don't have a lot of confidence to run 30K as it is. Like if I was fresh, like just a straight up run. So if I'm going to do this off a bike, that bike is going to have to be pretty conservative. But if I just go by that race, this was 32 watts higher than that. And I'll put the number on the bottom. I can't remember how much higher it was in Denmark, but in Denmark I averaged 40K an hour, and here I think it was like 25 watts higher than that, with better bike position, for sure. Like I was able to hold the position really well. So the bike was phenomenal, and then that and it was aggressive. It was like 82% FTP, which is an aggressive kind of thing for if you were pacing an Ironman, and I felt pretty good at the end of that bike. And you can see it at the start of the run. And with that run, the two things I'm happy with on it, just to summarize, I guess, again, is one, I just went for it. And I loved that mindset. I loved doing that. And I learned a ton because of it. I got a really good picture of where I am right now. And, I mean, I actually do think I can hold on to that pace. I don't think that was too rich at all. Going through 10 and 37:30 or whatever it was, which would be like a 2:38 marathon. I actually don't think that was that rich feeling. It felt actually very, very controlled. Actually, all day aerobically, it was really easy, other than the side stitch part. But that was just because I pushed, like I said, just a little bit too hard going up into that, up the hill into the wind there. But it actually felt sustainable. And so, like, for me going forwards, I'm like, actually, that felt pretty good, that pace. And I think, just a couple of things here or there, take more carbohydrate, 100%, on that run. And, I mean, I actually think if I just do that, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to hold it. And this was a very hilly course to begin with, and I am already looking at things into my training. I already wanted to do this about a month and a half ago. I wanted to start doing more hills on my runs because a lot of my runs end up being really flat. I'm limited where I am. I don't have that many hills around, but going forwards, I've wanted to do this for a little bit, and so going forwards, I am going to do a lot more hills. So, anyways, yeah. One, like I said, the mindset or the mentality of just going for it is what I'm really happy with. And two, the other big thing is just coming back from that rough patch as strong as I did and finishing that run as strong as I felt. I felt like I'm not going to say I could have gone another 12K, because who knows? What if there may be another rough patch coming? I don't know. So I'm not going to say I could have kept that for another 12, but I did feel like I hit my second wind. And I mean, if you said take that pace to 35, I would have said, okay, that's not that big of a deal. Because at that point, when we finished that run, I felt like $1,000,000 again, and we were sprinting like in the final 200 meters. We were booking it, as you saw. So, anyways, there's a lot of lessons. There's a lot more. I know I've just talked for like a while here, but overall, it was a phenomenal day. The bike, super strong, and the run, like I said, even though I didn't hit pace, I actually learned so much more from it. And I was on pace through a half marathon. I was on pace at 21.1. I was ahead of pace at 15 by 30 seconds. And to me, it didn't feel out of control by any stretch of the imagination. It's like just one more gel. All you needed was one more gel. All you needed was maybe not pressing as hard up that hill, which kind of gave you that stitch and threw off the nutrition a little bit. So, I mean, a little minor tweak there, here or there, and I had it 100%. And I'm going forwards. I'm like, I feel like I could do that again, in 2 weeks, and for sure go faster. Like, I think 154. Actually, I think based on the pace through 15K, I'm like, I don't see why I can't go 152 or 153 off of that. So it was a really, really positive day, and learned a ton from it. And coming up on the channel this week, I'm starting my next little challenge here, which is going to be taking down my personal best up the Alpe du Zwift, that is. So we're got the bike back in climbing mode here, and excited to bring you some more videos on that. As usual, thanks so much for watching. If you like, hit that subscribe button down below. Like, share, comment, whatever. And yeah, I really appreciate all the support as always. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I'll catch you later.